All right, let's go out to Trenton, New Jersey and talk to the mighty Erica. What's up, Erica?
Hi, Dr. Delony.
What's
Thank
up?
you for taking my call.
Of course. Thanks for calling. What's happening?
Yeah. Well, first, I will admit I am very nervous. And two, that I'm not a long-time listener. I just came across your channel about a month ago. And after binging many of your episodes, I thought, this guy seems to know a thing or two. And I think you'd be a great person to ask my questions to. So
Well, I
again,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for
Welcome.
this opportunity.
Welcome to our gang, our little madhouse gang. That's not so little anymore. We're super happy to have you. What's up?
Thank you. Okay, so my main question is, will I regret cutting ties with my dad? And I guess some sub-questions to further discuss or explore would be, how do I find peace with my decision? And if I don't completely find or feel that peace, is it because it's not the right choice?
That's a great question. Can I just answer this off the top of my head without getting too deep? Asking yourself the question, am I going to regret this down the road, is really a recipe for anxiety. You're pre-imagining what the future is going to hold and you don't know. I'd much rather you ask the question, what's the right decision for me right now that's going to help me be whole and me be healthy and me be aligned with my values and my people? That is a much better question, because here's the deal. If you decide and I don't even know what the story is on your dad, we haven't even got to that. But if you decide for right now, I need to create some space between me and my mom, me and my dad, me and my whoever. That's not a declaration of independence forever, that you're not going to circle back at some point in your life. That means right now, I can't breathe when I'm around that guy. I can't sleep. I start spinning out. I need to make some space. And that's right now. And that could be for the next year. It could be the next 5 years. That doesn't mean forever. So I just, the question of, am I going to regret this? Man, I don't even like that question. Because it just assumes that you can read the future. And so what happened?
All right. So I guess the backstory would be my dad stepped out on his then marriage and had an affair with my mom. He had 2 children at the time. My parents were never really together, so I was raised as an only child despite having siblings. And when I would ask him about it, he said that they didn't want to have a relationship with me, when the truth was that they didn't even know about me. No one did. No one on his side of the family knew.
That sucks. So are you a product of that affair?
Yes.
I said that's so ugly. Are you a product like you're a loaf of bread, right? No.
Yes.
Okay. You're the greatest thing that ever happened to your mom and your dad. Your mom recognizes it and your dad doesn't. So, and then he lied to you about your family.
Yes.
Okay. And so you grew up thinking that your half siblings didn't like you, didn't want to talk to you, didn't want anything to do with you.
Right. I feel like I spent most of my childhood feeling as if I was the one having the affair with him, because I knew very little about him. I didn't know where he lived. He had told me he lived an hour away when he actually only lived 20 minutes away. I didn't have his cell phone number. Our main form of communication was through email, and it was his work email at that. We'd have to go out of town to hang out so that he or we wouldn't be recognized. And there were even a couple of times I can remember growing up, running into him in public, and he would look the other way if he was with his now new family.
Hey, Erica, your dad sucks. and I say that not even laughing. I'm sorry that was your dad. And let me be as direct as I can. I went to hug my 7-year-old little girl this morning, and she did her Matrix move, which she's been doing much less recently. But I grabbed air, I hugged air, and she looked at me with kind of that ha, you missed me, and I had to go, and I just said, hey, I love you, and I almost wept on the way to the car because I can't breathe without my daughter in the room, and you deserve that too, and you should have had that. I can't even wrap my mind around seeing my daughter in a strange place and not having the entire world stop so I could drop down and give her a hug. Your dad sucks. Your dad's a coward, an absolute stone coward. And I'm sorry. And I would say that to his face if he was standing 2 inches from me. I hate that for you. I hate that for your. You know what? I also hate it for your mom. I hate it for your mom because your mom deserved better than that too.
Yeah, and I think she carries a lot of guilt too, feeling like she put me in that situation.
No. Well, she hooked up with a married man. There's that, right? And there's consequences from that. But I don't like looking at you as consequences, right?
Yeah.
Like you're a gift. You're here for a reason. And you probably do a lot of good in your local community with people who love you and people you care for. So the fact that you're here is right and good. But your mom can't feel guilty by saying, hey, father, here's your baby girl, and expecting him to act like a decent human being.
Yeah.
That's awful, man. I'm sorry. Because here's what I also know. I know the downstream ripple effect of that is, how old are you now?
31.
A 31-year-old woman whose body asks herself every day, what was so bad about me that my dad wouldn't say, I love you, and wouldn't invite me into his life? What was so bad about me? And you've probably been trying to answer that question in some stupid ways over the years. Is that fair?
Fair. Very fair.
You're like, uh-oh, yep.
Yeah.
It's part of your nervous system. I don't think you may have made some choices that made your life really complicated and hard. But I'm not even, I'll call them stupid choices, but I don't think they were dumb. I think your body was doing what it could to try to solve the question of what's so bad about me. And I'll find somebody to love me. I'll find something to cover up that hurt. And that's really hard. It should not have happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can I help? What's your question about future regret? Ugh.
So
hold on. Let me do this. I'm talking a lot.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying sit with you? I mean, does it make sense?
Yeah. It took a few weeks to get to this point with my previous therapist. So the fact that we were able to do that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I kind of cut through the first 3 weeks of therapy usually.
Yeah. But yeah, and so I think just to kind of like add on to the backstory, which kind of leads to my question, is fast forward to a few years ago, about 2020, we found out that he had been keeping another secret, and there was another sibling that we didn't know about.
No, you mean a pathetic liar who cheats on his wife has other lies and cheats that he doesn't tell people about?
You know, and it's funny because growing up, I would always tell my younger brother, who I do have a relationship with, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Dad had another, and then boom, it happened. I was like, I mean, just look at his, like, patterns,
Yeah, ta-da! The sun came up again. No way. All right, so you've got other siblings.
Right. And so there's another one. And so despite it being a triggering situation, I supported him through it the best way that I could. But then I soon felt betrayed when I realized that this new sibling had already been introduced to his family and had been to his home. And I was like, wait a minute, like I'm 31 and I still haven't experienced that. And that became a pretty defining moment for me. And that's when I decided to completely cut ties with him. But I go back to that initial question. Like, I often wonder if I made the right choice, if I'll regret it, or if I'm even being selfish by not allowing him to have a relationship with my family and, like, specifically my daughter.
I'm going to tell you something really hard. I want you to internalize this deep in your soul, okay?
Okay.
He left you a long time ago.
Yeah.
Your dad abandoned you like a coward and left you. The problem is he's such an extra layer of weak, cowardly man that he left a ribbon out his shut door for his daughter to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen those? They're like the old science videos that we watched when we were kids, and they're on YouTube now. But you ever heard of like ducks, like baby ducks, they imprint? And so they'll have duck's eggs will hatch, and they'll put a big wire, like a wire mesh looking duck in the middle of the room. And these baby ducks are born and they run in and they imprint on that metal duck. They just, the first thing they see, that's mom. That's it. And monkeys do that too. They have balloons, monkeys that have like imprinted on balloons, and the balloon is their mother, and they'll hang out and they'll do everything with them. Your dad did that with a shadow of himself to you. He left you a long time ago. And if you've listened to this show, if you've done a binge on this show and talked about, like you hear me say, like, I think reconciliation is something to always strive for, almost always. And I think forgiveness is something important to strive for. And I believe forgiveness works here too, because I don't want you carrying around his cinder blocks everywhere. Just forgiveness is for you. It's you setting it down. I'm not carrying this stuff for you, old man. You're a disturbed, cowardly man that abandoned his daughter. And I'm not carrying that anymore. Your dad did not leave you because something was wrong with you, Erica. He left you because something was wrong inside of him. Period. I think the thing that feels like regret is deep and profound heartbreak. And it's right and good because your dad's awful. But the fantasy that he's going to one day pick up the phone and invite you to meet your family, it's not going to happen. If you want to meet your brothers and your half brothers and sisters, you're going to have to reach out and call them and tell them.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it. You can't expect a rattlesnake to not bite you. Your dad's a coward. That's who he is. That's in his DNA. He's a cheater. He's a liar. That's who he is. So he's continued to choose to be.
Yeah, and I think when I cut ties with him, I was making that choice to not allow him to hurt me anymore and to just control what I could control.
Yes. And that doesn't mean you did the right thing. And we often think that if we do the right thing, the world just works out. You did the right thing. Let me say it like this. You can do the right thing and it still hurts real, real bad.
Yeah.
You can end.
I thought I would, yeah.
You thought you'd feel a different way, right?
Yeah, I thought I would feel peace. Like, okay, like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder, and in
fact, the
some ways
opposite.
I feel like it gets heavier.
Yes, and but you're attributing to something it's not, because you're attributing it to regret, which is you blaming yourself again, which is what little girls do when their dads abandon them. That weight you feel is reality. He's not going to call. He's not ever going to welcome me in. That is called heartbreak. And all of the imaginative scenarios, all of the Facebook and emails you get back and forth, all of the little stolen glimpses you have, all of the little access he gives to you of his shadow, that's not a relationship with your dad.
Right.
And so I think what you're feeling deep inside is, oh my gosh, my dad left his daughter. Do you have kids?
Right. I do, my daughter.
Can you imagine? Can you just flip it around? Can you imagine? Just your daughter walks up to you in the mall and you're just like, shh, and you walk away?
I could never.
Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around that.
It's very hard for me. Yeah, it's hard for me to comprehend that he would do that.
And my daughter's mean and she doesn't like me. You know what I mean? Like, she's mean. And I can't imagine that level of despicable cowardice. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and I think
that's your world. That's the truth, right?
Yeah, and I think that in some ways, I'm like grieving and mourning, like not only the picture that I had of what my relationship could be with my dad, but of him and my daughter. Because I thought, like, surely by now, even if he didn't get it right with me, he's gonna do it for her.
Nope.
And I realized that that's not the case, and I'm like, I refuse for my daughter to feel what I did.
That's right. So here's the statement. Where's your daddy? My dad's really sick. His mind and his soul don't work as they're supposed to. And he's really sick. And he had a hard time telling the truth. And he had a really hard time with his babies. And it makes mommy sad because I could never imagine a second without you in my life. And I think healing for you is, I would tell you, you know what I tell you? I'm going to tell you to treat this the same way I would treat you if your dad had just suddenly passed away. I think it starts with you writing 3 letters. 1 letter to thank you. And I know that sounds insane. Thank you for meeting my mom when you did and for having me. Because if it was a one-night stand or a 6-month rendezvous, whatever, I'm here. So thank you for that. The second letter is, how freaking dare you?
Mm.
Leave me with a lifetime of wondering what was so bad about me. And I want you to write that letter and be bloody honest to yourself, honest to him, as though you finally have permission to say the things that you need to say. And the third letter is, Dear Dad, wanted to let you know, here's what you're going to miss. You're going to miss your amazing granddaughter. And as of now, you're never going to see her because I don't have her around cowardly, weak, dishonest, unsafe men. You're going to miss your daughter growing up to be an incredible woman and an incredible hard worker and a great mother and a great wife, all of those things. And I wish you the best. And you end the letter with this. From this point forward, I'm not carrying you and your dysfunction on my back anymore. Love, Erica. And God help you. Don't send these letters, but I want you to fully experience them. I don't want you to do it when you have The Office playing or reruns of some murder podcast playing. I want you to write these when your kid is with a sitter, your kid's at school, when you have some time off work, when you can just fully be present with these letters. And they should be really heavy and really hard. And then maybe write a fourth letter to your mom and just say thank you so much. Thank you for being a great mom, for showing up, continuing to show up, even though you were kicked to the margins. And thank you for being there for us. And then just enter into a season of grief. Shouldn't be this way, but it is. Start journaling with yourself. This is how I feel today. Thank God I have my daughter. Thank God I have my mom. Thank God I have my husband, my partner. Thank God, thank God, thank God. Next day, man, today's really hard. And then you're going to build a new picture. One that doesn't include him. And maybe one day in 10 years, he has an awakening, a reckoning. And he calls and begs, what have I done? I'm so sorry, my baby. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then maybe you're whole and you're well and both feet of yours are anchored into the ground. And maybe you say, I'll meet you for coffee. But if it was me, as for me in my house, I'd block the number. I'd delete the email. And I would begin to build a world that already exists in reality. And it's a world without my dad. Hate that for you. I'm going to send you Building a Non-Anxious Life. I think that might be a great roadmap for you to begin to create something new without him. And I'm also going to send you Own Your Past, Change Your Future, which has a lot in it about a roadmap for dealing with historical trauma and building something new when everything that you thought was going to be there for you falls apart. Thanks for the call, Erica.